the channel. Welcome back to another match reaction. And like Malik said off camera, it feels like a loss because I recorded a video, or actually I did my match reaction, and I opened it up. Our first loss of the season. I needed to start over because we didn't lose, but it does feel as a loss. The way the last 15 minutes go, and I think post game a lot of overreaction. Maybe just for me because I recorded immediately post game, which is never a good idea, but it is what it is. But we're gonna talk about it. Norbert, Malik, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, but yeah, that game feels like a loss for sure, especially after that game during the week against Leipzig. Yeah, it hurts.
Well, other than me injuring the same knee twice in 10 days, I'm fine.
Ouch.
Oh,
Yeah, a long story.
well, it's in fashion, so everybody's hurting his knees at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think maybe it feels more of a loss just purely like you said, Norbert, because what happened on Wednesday. I think more so if that game didn't happen, I think everybody could have placed it a little bit better. But everybody was on such a high, and then you get knocked off that high. Basically, I think that was kind of the issue, and also the way we kind of threw that game. I think that like if Kylie just came to the stadium and were brilliant, you're like, phew, it is what it is on the day, I guess. But they're not good. They're not a good team. Oh, we lost Norbert. Uh,
Man down, man down.
yeah, but Cagliari are not a good team, or I wasn't impressed. Like I didn't leave that game where like, oh, Cagliari are a good team. I don't think they're a good team. I think that's kind of built into the frustration rather than actually dropping points. But we're gonna talk about it because the title is basically do not overreact, and I've seen a lot of overreaction, especially in the media. Also among maybe more concerns, even though no, let's call it overreactions basically. um if uh if I told you post Coppa Italia win, when Allegri lost his mind, that the first week of October, you know um we will be undefeated, we will be 3 points off the top in the league, we won 2 games on our Champions League, and one of those games we won with 10 men, being a goal down away from home. What will your reaction be if I told you that post Coppa Italia?
Honestly, I didn't expect even this much. This is okay. Like the players still learning this whole Motta system. They still learning how to play with each other, and we still didn't lose. So I think it's quite okay. Like putting aside all the things like we didn't beat small teams like Empoli and Cagliari. Other than that, it's okay. Nothing is lost. We are still up there. It's all good. And the Champions League 6 points is awesome. So I think it's positive.
Yeah, I mean, there were 2 seasons in the last 3 seasons where the start was absolutely horrible and we were around like mid-table by this time. So, off the bat, that's an improvement. But yeah, it's still gonna take time. Like as I said, I don't expect, I don't have this expectation like to win something immediately. It's a building phase, and I think a lot of people have to understand that. Like I get the frustration of drawing against Cagliari. I'm frustrated that they're pretty much in the relegation zone, aren't they? Weren't they? I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's a game you should be winning, and on paper, how the match went and everything, we should have been comfortable by the last 15 minutes, but it wasn't to be. But on another day, that would have been a 4-0, 3-0. So you win some, you draw some,
Yeah.
because we haven't lost.
You know what it is? I don't think you can go from the Wednesday game where everybody was ecstatic to kind of be not like throw that all overboard and go completely 360 on your opinion, 180 on your opinion with what happened on Sunday. I think this is who we are right now. Like we can do that, but we also can do this right now. And I think that's obvious. I think that's clear. We play better than we did against Napoli, Roma, Empoli, and like you said, we did more than enough to win. We should have won that game. You know, we should have won that game. Period. It's as simple as that. Yesterday, I thought individuals made a mistake. We'll talk about that, including Motta, because he kind of admitted to it. You know, post game. That's why we didn't won the game. It's not that we had a horrible game in terms of like, man, we looked completely off. We didn't do anything what we tried to do since the start of the season. We did that. Actually, we did that pretty well, to be honest. I think, like I said, better than in most of the games against these smaller teams. But if you switch off for 15 minutes, well, that's what you get basically. You get like the frustrating part as well. To top it off is Cagliari didn't have chances, like, but you just had a feeling something is gonna happen. Something weird will happen if we do not close out this game. And it's not that we got dominated. Like, it was like good chance. It was a mess up again, you know, basically. And then they hit the post at the end because everyone, like, heads were gone. Like, heads were lost at that point. That's that, because like, immediate match reaction, pissed. Sitting back, you know, a day after, I'm like, you know what? We still look solid. You know, yeah, we didn't win the game, but it's not that we got that I need to look at that. I'm like, man, I'm even worried about that now. You know, forget about not scoring the goals. Wow, at the back, we didn't look good. I know journalists try to do the Bremer is out and we conceded the highest XG. Well, the pen was 0.7 XG. That's how the media does things. Other than that, that was a horrible game from Cagliari, and we kept him at bay completely. And yes, it's Cagliari, I get it, but fine, we'll still look solid. Yesterday, it's individuals, and well, like you said, Norbert, early on, it's still not gelling, it's still not clicking completely.
Yeah.
And you can see that in many aspects, you know, where players are a bit off. You know, I remember, like, in the first half, I think if Koopmeiners just plays in Bangula, that's a goal. He doesn't do that, you know, kind of messed up. I've seen other players missing, you know, clear cut, you know, how do you want to, like, passing lanes where it's like you should be doing better in this situation. It will take time, but are you like, are you worried, Norbert? I'm not worried that we're not gonna win the league. I think everybody's going that. Oh, we're not gonna win the league because you can't beat these teams. Basically, I think that's the benchmark people have right now. But that's not what I want to ask. Are you worried that what we've seen yesterday against Empoli will be a big issue because we cannot resolve it? Basically, we cannot win these games. We don't find a way to win these games.
Nope, because the team will jail. Koopmeiners will not miss big chances. I don't know if Vlahovic will miss chances or not. That's another question. But um, yes, when was it? Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday's game was on Motta in my eyes. We were playing well, and he decided to sub the entire midfield. And I think it's a mistake when we control the game and how we play, how we have chances. Koopmeiners was injured, so okay, and Fagioli was okay, like it was not the problem. But to take off Thuram and Locatelli was absolutely useless. But Motta is gonna learn from this, I'm pretty sure, because he's that kind of dude. He's a young coach, and these young coaches always learn from their mistakes, and it's going to be okay. I'm not afraid at all. I'm not worried. Things will come, and even then, we still didn't lose. So 2 weeks from now, what, Lazio and then Inter? I think those gonna be like a good measure sticks. Where are we? I'm expecting 4 points of that at least, but still, no worries here.
Yeah, same here. I'm very calm about it. It's not like last season or the previous seasons where we'd get a result like this and we'd be like, oh boy, this is gonna happen again next week, another subpar performance. We did deserve to win that game. We were just very unfortunate, and that can happen. But yeah, I agree with Norbert saying changing the midfield all in one go is, changes the scene of the game a lot more than some people may think. Because they need to come in, they need to feel the game, they need to adapt, and you can lose a bit of momentum like that, which did happen in my opinion. But yeah, I'm not too concerned. I know we will bounce back. We're gonna have some games where we're gonna look amazing and win, and I truly believe down the line we're gonna be a real force to be reckoned with. So yeah.
You know, I think you're right. Like the Locatelli one, especially, I was a bit confused. I was not sure why that
Yeah,
was needed. I don't think Thuram was having the best of games, so I was like, fine. But the Locatelli one, I was like, that's weird. I didn't like he didn't play on the weekend, and he brings in McKennie, and I'm like, I'm not sure McKennie's the type of player that will change a game. But that's not really the discussion. What he like we were gonna talk about individuals, and I said like blame Motta as well, which I agree upon. Like I agree with because post game he didn't say yes definite, but he said maybe when it came to Yildiz because I saw people slating in Bangula yesterday. I'm not really sure why, and I will explain why because they like a lot of people like wingers who take on players so on so on. Me as well, but he's not that type of player, so I cannot like how do you like I cannot
Expect that of
It's
him.
like McKennie. When I come on and said he's not my cup of tea because he's not as technical as I prefer my player to be in that position. That's just me. I don't come on and say, "Oh, because you're not technical, you had a horrible game." Like it, if you know what I mean. Like you're not that player. I know. What I will criticize McKennie for is if I do not see you pop up in the box here and there. I'm like, that's kind of your thing. If you don't do that like you did against Leipzig when Koopmeiners hit the post, that's the positions I want you in because then I can deal with you. I can watch you. With Mbangula, it's the same thing. Like he is a player and he will play a lot of games this season. By the way, I think for a very simple reason, he doesn't really make mistakes. It looks boring maybe, but he doesn't make mistakes. It's not that he gives the ball away over and over and over again. And I think Motta kind of appreciates that in players, in my opinion. However, in that second half where it was kind of becoming stale a little bit, where it was like, come on, I need to see something more. I was like, okay, now you bring in Yildiz because that
yeah,
Lazio backline, whatever, is not good. Like it's just, and even when Yildiz came on, he was taking on players, and you have defenders on their back foot. That's why I think he messed up more so than changing that midfield because even like I think we lost control a little bit. However, if you have Yildiz on that pitch earlier on, I think we would have scored earlier on. That's just how I view the game because he brought him on extremely late, and then it all started with Vlahovic, Douglas Luiz, Conceição. It was all a domino effect at that point. I think that was the biggest thing where it was like, okay, we needed something more because it was all about Conceição. Everything was going down that side, and it was like, okay, we need something more on the left right now. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes. But like Norbert said, he'll probably learn from it. He will probably learn from it. Also, which it's not an excuse. However, on Wednesday, we played with 10 men and we put a lot of energy in that game, like tons of energy. It's going to take its toll. That's why if Vlahovic puts that chance away, it's calm. But when something weird happens and you kind of lose control of that game and you play that type of game on Wednesday with 10 men, you're just going to feel it at one point. Like it's just going to happen. It is what it is. So I'm not really concerned, about the game. It is like Malik said, it happens, I guess. It does happen. The worry for me is more so, okay, this is not the first time that we cannot put these teams away. That's maybe more so about a worry rather than actually that game on Sunday. But let's talk about the individuals. Let's talk about Vlahovic first. Maybe one of you guys can explain to me how he's able to score those goals on Wednesday and miss that chance on Sunday. Can anyone
he needs a
explain?
good girlfriend, man.
No.
A good
I
girlfriend.
knew
He's
this was coming.
calm. Yeah. But it's true. Come on, like personal life affects these players, and
It does, to be fair.
yeah. So okay, I may be funny here and there, but like if you look into it, like seriously, you need a calm personal life to perform better. And he has money. He's a football player, so girls come and go, and he needs like a stable one and one for a long time. And for me, it's whatever. I was holding my head, obviously that chance, but what can we do? He will score next time. Like it wasn't on him. Like come on, we should have beat this guy at 3-4-0, and we didn't. So we can say, oh, why didn't he score? Like I don't care. We should have won that game. So
Really quickly
that's
before
that.
Malik goes, I agree. Like it's not like we should have the game should have been over way before that. You know, I've seen, and people do not like that, like how idiotic it is. I've seen players miss these chances. You know, I've seen
Yeah,
Haaland
I've seen
against
Haaland miss
Liverpool
these. Yeah,
in the first
yeah,
game,
yeah,
like an absolute sitter, and he missed that, and he got ridiculed.
Similar chance, by the way.
Yeah, so
Haaland
I've
missed
seen
one.
it before. However, what I've always said is, if the game is this tense and close, I'm expecting you, if you're that guy, to close that game more often than not. Right now,
yeah.
it's the other way around. It's not then, more often. Like, that's kind of my issue. But you go, Malik.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you can't really blame him to some extent for missing that. These it can happen to anyone really. But yeah, just in that moment and stuff, he would have been very ideal if he had scored that. I was celebrating when I saw him running towards the ball already,
No,
honestly.
everybody was.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like Vlahovic does have this thing though where he'd miss the easy ones and score the hard ones. Because
Yeah.
if you look at some of his goals first, it's like, whoa, great finishes. And then you look at some of the chances he's missed and how he's missed them, you're like, oh God. It's just another case there. But he's finding his form this season. I think this season will be his best season for us.
Yeah.
You know.
I predicted 30 goals in all comp. So
Oh yeah, you did.
Oh, well, I mean, we do have the Club World Cup, so
yeah,
Adding more. You know. You
and more
know.
Champions League
You
games.
know what's even what the word is for me right now? There's an international break. I was like,
That's the thing.
he needed a game to just bounce back from it now, because it's weird because I don't know. No, I know how he's coming out of that game. I know how he's coming, despite having 3 goals in the space of 3 days or 4 days. I know how he's coming out of that game, and knowing that he needs to sit on that 2 weeks is a bit worrying for me. Like, we will get an absolutely shambolic performance against Lazio for him, or a stellar one. There will be no in between. I will predict that it's, oh my god, sub him at halftime, or it's 2 goals. It's that type of performance he will have. That type of game. Which one it will be, I have no idea, because nobody knows with Vlahovic. It can be Leipzig. I want to say it can be and be Cagliari, but I don't think he played poorly yesterday. It's just that chance.
Done.
It's just
Yeah.
that,
Exactly.
and it's like, you're a
Yeah.
striker. That's like, if Gregorio makes an absolute howler, he could have saved 10 ridiculous balls before that. If he makes a howler and that's why you won't win that game, everyone would be like, yeah, it's on you. Forget about what you did. That's with strikers as well.
Maybe I should write him a message as as an older and wiser man, East European to East European, Dusan Brate, come on, to calm him down. But yeah, I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Motta will figure out something how he can do this like during the trainings or something. I don't know.
That was
Yeah,
weird.
like my biggest thing with the thing I'm most annoyed about the game is that we go into the international break 2 weeks without club football on a draw. There's
Yeah.
there's no reconciliation game where you're like, oh yes, we won, or look forward to that.
It's
It's still a
how the
while.
draw came about, more like, if we drew a very good side and you're like, wow, good point on the day,
Yeah,
it's an awful point on the day. Like, just awful.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, like, with 3 point, like, if you look at the standings, you're like, man, just calm down. Like, I did that this morning. I was like, calm down, man. Like, just relax, chill. But you look deeper into it and like, man, we drew 4 times. Like, at home 3 times. Like, yeah, we have some quote unquote issues right now. Like, you just need to address that, no matter how positive you can be and how good you can talk about, what we have been doing. Like, you still need to be critical. Like, you can remember last season when we were on the streak and I was like, it's not gonna last. I could have come on and be like, yeah, forget about it. It's good, fantastic, shut up. This feels different right now because, like I said, we drop points, but we don't look completely out of place. Because if this was last season, I've seen these games last season where we got dominated.
Yeah.
We had, I think, the minute 30, I think they had 50 or 60% possession. At the end of the game, we had 700 passes. Them, Cagliari, 200. And I know people say, oh, but the score is 1-1. Yes, that's something we need to do better. But I've seen us get dominated by these teams and also not win. Like I've seen
Yeah,
it.
like controlling a game is so much more calming than doing that thing that we did last year, that counter-attacking against every single team, even if it's
Yeah.
the last one in the league. It's insane. So yeah, it's a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that's calming me. The approach, the attitude we have towards game is so better. You can see an identity. I keep saying it over and over again. And over
Yeah,
time, this is gonna build. So.
Okay, let's and people in the chat. I will read out chat in a minute. Alex saying expect us to beat Lazio. I'm almost certain. Well, beating Lazio at home is a certainty. However, who knows? Like we're missing some players. Conceição was suspended. We'll talk about that. Koopmeiners maybe not. Gonzalez is out. Bremer's out. Like we have some issues. But let's address the elephant in the room, or some might say the donkey at this moment in time, and that's Douglas Luiz, because I don't think any player, I cannot recall it, had a worse 2 game span in 3-4 games than Douglas Luiz. Like two of the same incidents. It's not that he gave away a pen and he missed an absolute sitter. He gave away
yeah,
2 pens in the most
yeah,
idiotic way, and in the most the most awful timing of timing. Like if that happened in minute 5, you're like, entire game to play for. Keep calm, But it didn't. Against Leipzig, it happened after we went down 10 men 10 seconds before, and now you do
yeah.
it towards the end. So he is having horrible is probably an understatement right now. Start to his Juve career. I know Republic are eating it up, saying, he and Motta are not getting along, so on, so on. It was expected, and with the break, it will get worse, I guess. But Malik, Norbert first, can you point to anything to say that's why Douglas Luiz is struggling right now?
Nope. Maybe he's still adjusting. I don't know. It's weird because against Leipzig he was bad because that penalty was like in the first 30 seconds he stepped on the field, so he completely ruined him. But in this game he was okay before this, and then he's doing this absolutely crazy penalty, and so I really don't know. Maybe he's just another Brazilian we need to write off. Like it happened before. So uh, yeah, it just feels bad. We're spending 50 plus million on a player and it doesn't work out. So
Our
I'm
track
not sure.
record, our track record with Brazilians isn't really the best. But with that
Yeah,
aside, I still feel like it's too premature to, you know, exile him, and it's
yeah,
already the first week of October. So
yeah,
yeah, exactly. But we know the qualities he can have. We saw it at Villa for the last 2 years. And honestly, every time he came on, except Leipzig, obviously, um, he looked good. There's something about him which I like, and for now I'm holding my stocks onto him. I think he'll come
yeah.
good. So.
He's calm and he has the flair and all those
Yeah, yeah,
passes.
his exciting. He has that Brazilian
Yeah,
technical flair, which is
yeah,
something we don't have in our midfield. So
yeah.
yeah, he's gonna be a valuable asset regardless. We're gonna play many games. He's gonna eventually start one day.
Like what? But what? Like how is he gonna recover from this? Because like he needs to sit on this for 2 weeks now. Like how is Motta gonna get him right at this moment? Like at this point, it feels like he's just completely broken down. Like he's not starting games. He comes from Villa. He's not starting games. He's getting benched by a player who was almost included in a swap deal for him right now, and you did that in the last 2 games, basically. How is he gonna recover from this? How is he gonna convince Motta? Like, what does Motta need to do? Because I saw people say, just give him a shot against Lazio from the start. After that, there's no way Motta's gonna do that, right? Like, there's no chance
Yeah.
Motta's like, okay, I'm gonna
I
give you
think
this start, kind of risk it, but hopefully, please perform so I have you back. I think
I
it's more than
think
that.
they just need to sit down Brazilian to Brazilian, and they need to talk about this, like what's going on and how can we help as a club and so on. All these cliches. But I think it's truly like he came from England. I don't know. He's still adjusting. Blah blah blah. And yeah, it's on Motta. He needs to figure it out, or he needs to get someone who figures it out. So yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what's the solution.
Yeah, and I hope he figures it out soon because I was really excited about the transfer. So I hope
Yeah.
it comes good. But yeah, it's odd because like obviously after that shit show against Leipzig and the penalty given away against Cagliari, he's not gonna start the next game. You know, Motta starts people based off of merit, so he's gonna have to work his ass off in training to start. So
And so far, it just doesn't look like that's the case, because he would have started some games, but
yeah,
Some are saying in the chat, give him some time. We are giving him time, by the way. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
you know what it is? People who do not give him time do not like him before he came in. That's just that.
yeah.
I'm not like, I don't like my, I didn't like Kalulu, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. Prove me wrong. Right now, he's proving me wrong. I couldn't be more happy, especially
Season
now.
is long.
Now, especially Bremer is down. If you have made your mind up about a player before he joins, it clouds, like it kind of clouds your opinion on him, and I'm guilty of that. However, I will always give a player a fair shot to prove me wrong, always, no matter who it is, how much I dislike that player, whatever. If you play for the club, I will give you a shot and prove me wrong. With Douglas Luiz, I liked him when he came in. As a player, I did. I watched a lot of Aston Villa. I did like him. Right now, I cannot defend that. What he did at Villa is not helping us. It's not helping him right now. It's just not. It's costing us right now. Literally costing us. So he needs to find a way to get his mind right, because Motta can give him all the confidence in the world. If he doesn't buy it, then you have a broken player right there. And to be honest, the runs of games we have, somebody needs to correct me. I think it's Lazio, Stuttgart, Inter. Is it Villa? I don't know. It's Torino in between. Like, we have a tough stretch of 7 games. I think until the
Yeah.
next international break, I think it's 7 games. I'm not really sure. It's a few teams I named there. If you want to redeem yourself, there is no better way to redeem yourself than doing it in these type of games. In these big games where you play Inter, like, it's the biggest game of our season for us and for Inter, always. Like, no matter what, even if it's in the useless Supercoppa, it's the biggest game of the season for each fan base. If you can redeem yourself in these games, a lot of fans will be like, forget about what happened against Cagliari and Leipzig. This is it. If you do that, and you do that against Inter, and you build on that, a lot of people can live with it. However,
And
it's easy said. It's, well, not easy done, probably, against Inter.
if Vlahovic scores from Douglas Luiz's attempt on goal, which came out,
Yeah.
maybe that would have given some confidence. But yeah, we're never gonna know.
mm-hmm.
Because, like Malik said, like, technically, like, there's a good player in. Like, the mistakes he's making have nothing to do with
It's
his
silly.
football ability. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's not like, oh, he gave the
Yeah.
ball away. It's not. He's not. That's
And
not
he's
it.
calm with the ball as well. He's super calm.
Besides that Leipzig game where he was horrible on the ball as well.
Yeah.
Like, the mistakes where everybody's looking at are just head losses, like errors, like complete head loss. Where maybe he was doing too much against Cagliari, doing too much, trying to clear that ball away instead of just being smart, composed, and calm. But that's a player who is extremely low on confidence. Not to say he has no confidence right now, but that's up to Motta to fix. That's not up to me. That's not up to management, and we can talk about the price tag. Like, that is also irrelevant at this moment in time. Right now, the price tag is irrelevant. It will be relevant if you get this Douglas Luiz from now until the end of the season. Then it's relevant for the club and the finances. But right now, it's irrelevant. The most relevant part is that Motta gets Douglas Luiz's mind right. So let's see if he can fix that in the next 2 weeks, hopefully, because he's not going to the national game. The way Motta has us playing, I'm more confident going into big games than any times in the last 3 seasons. Yeah, because we go for it. And teams in big games usually also go for it. And, well, that suits us more better right now. But I agree. He does, like, this far, big games, he doesn't set up to say, you know what, let's soak up pressure. like which we always say with Allegri. Soak up pressure, and we will go from there. It's the other way around. It's like let's pressure him, them more so, and let's see what we go. So I agree with that one. I do agree. I'm more confident right now going to Villa Park than going away to Monza. I am. It sounds crazy, but I am. That's how I'm looking at these things right now.
Yeah.
We need a forward. We can't rely solely on Vlahovic. Well, I agree. I think everybody agrees, but we had one. But yeah, he's.
Do
I don't
we?
know where he is. I have no idea where he is.
Yeah.
But we need help
I
in
think
January.
Yildiz would be perfect there, to be honest, when he's not to make Vlahovic rest a little bit. Yildiz, I think Yildiz would be perfect up there. This,
Could be. I think he will rather try Gonzalez or Timothy Weah again if he can stay fit for more than 3 games. But we need help.
Yeah.
Like we need help up. Like as a striker, just Vlahovic needs help. He cannot play 60 games. Like it's impossible. So he just needs help. And at the back, we will see in actually the next 7. Let me look it up because now I want to know. But the next 7 games will probably tell the club if they need to make a significant signing in January at the back or more of a stopgap. To say, here we go. This is what we're gonna do, basically. Loan a player.
We can get a certain Canadian striker pretty cheap in January.
I think a lot of teams will be in from. I don't think Lille are gonna sell. I know he's a free agent, but how much money are they gonna get?
Not much.
Yeah,
but
it's I mean, it's
better
in the
than
middle
no
of their
money.
season.
I think for the impact he's having on their team, I think they will take the hit for once. Because he is Lille right now. Like if you watch Lille, he is Lille. So I think they will rather take that hit at the end of the season.
Giuntoli has a good relationship with Lille, though.
Let's see. He's the fashionable name. But let's see.
Well, we play them in 4 weeks, so we'll have a sit. We'll have a sit down with them.
So it's Lazio, Stuttgart, Inter, Parma, Udinese, Lille, Torino, and then it's the international break again. So it's not easy. Like none of these games are easy. I don't like Parma at home should be because the way they play, it's very expansive and open. It should be. Udinese at away. I know Udinese are having a good start to the season, but that I think we should win. But it's not going to be an easy game. And Torino, Torino can be absolutely dreadful. It's one of those games where they will show up. And then, Lille in the Champions League and Stuttgart in the Champions League. If you win the next 2 games in the Champions League, it's basically a wrap, almost. You need to do some insane things and the other team as well. So, big 7 games coming up for everybody, not just, actually for Motta, for that back line, players in midfield, players up front. Yildiz, who I think needs to do more. I don't think he's going to shine on that position if you glue him to that position. So that's something he needs to adapt to, or Motta needs to fix, in my opinion. Because I think he's better if he can come inside of the pitch more often than just trying to take on players time and time again. In January,
Gyökeres, that's interesting.
Yeah, somebody say that. Can we get
Gyökeres will be sold for like 120 mil, for England for sure.
Yeah, Gyökeres is not gonna be under like 70
and
million.
He can't even say his own name correctly. By the way, it's Gyökeres, and he's saying something stupid. Come on, man, you're Hungarian. Come on.
Oh, he's originally Hungarian.
Sesko, Dovbrik went to Roma. Like they're all in the same boat basically. Where it's those 3. Who's gonna be better? One of them is gonna flop if they make the big move. One of the 3 will look back at and they're like, yeah, you're not that guy. It's just who's gonna take the wrong one at this point, But we're not gonna get him. If we get Jonathan David, Julian will be having a party, probably. But I will be okay with that. I will be fine with that. Because if you keep Vlahovic, I don't need another 70 million striker. That's insane. The budget wise, that's crazy. We cannot budget for that. So if you can get Jonathan David, even if you pay Lille 50 million in January, and for some reason they're like, yeah, let's screw up our season, take him because we need the 50 million, that's fine, But if he's a free agent in the summer, I'm not sure we're gonna get him. To be honest, I'm not so sure we're gonna get him. You know, I see Barca, I see those teams coming for him.
Yeah.
But let's see. Maybe we can convince him. Who knows?
If Dushan doesn't want to lower his wages and we actually sell him, I have full confidence in Giuntoli that he can bring in a good replacement. So I think we're good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's start. Like I don't want to talk about January transfer windows. Actually, like we did that last season because we were, you know what, like second part of the season we were talking about signing players consistently on a daily basis, where it's like we're still playing football. Now we're talking about it. I know because of needs. You know, Milik is injured, Bremer, so I get it. But we still have a big enough squad to overcome certain moments. You know, I know Gonzalez is injured now and Conceição was suspended, and the Lazio one, maybe Colt Miners is out. That being said, I still think we have enough to be uh, winning against Lazio at home. I've seen Lazio and they're having a good start to the season, but they have so many flaws as well. They do. Like, they have a lot of flaws. So I'm not really looking at that because I saw people panicking. Conceição, I'm like, just chill. You know, maybe Colt Miners makes it back. Who knows? You know, who knows? So Gonzalez has now 2 weeks off. Everybody, so we can he doesn't miss the amount of games he's potentially gonna miss if this was the 7 game stretch. So who knows, maybe for that reason the international break came at the right time, but I think for momentum and for certain players it didn't. But let's see what will happen. The last thing I wanted to talk about, because I didn't have your I didn't have you guys on since, what was it, Wednesday, Thursday, and the news broke. You know, the Pogba news broke. I think Friday it was, and the scenarios went wild when there was only one scenario. Not sure why everybody ignored that. Is that, well, he was never gonna stay. You know,
Yeah.
because Giuntoli did his best to clean up the books a little bit. He's not gonna keep Pogba. Yeah, and it's not gonna happen. But what do you make of his second spell? Like everything in general. And by the way, the latest report is that he is just very willing to just rip up that paper and move on.
Well, Allegri wanted Pogba and not SMS, so that's that. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he's made out of glass now. That he's older and he can't even play 2 games in a row. So yeah, he's gone. I don't know, with this contract termination, what does he want? Like, it's going to be mutual, I know, but what money? What does he want? Like, just go, just sign with an MLS team or a Saudi team, or I don't know where does he want to go. But yeah, he's gone. Probably a lot even before January, a lot before that.
Yeah, when he first signed, I was excited because he was one of my favorite players at a certain point in my life.
Yeah.
But everything that could have gone wrong went wrong and worse. So it's a shame, really. It's very unfortunate. But we move on. We're sorted in midfield now. So him leaving and the way things are, it's a softer blow. So
He makes 10 mil net, so that's insane also.
yeah,
I think what's more insane was that I did it live and I actually needed to battle people to convince them he cannot stay. Oh, but he's the best player if he's fit, if he's that. I'm like,
Sell Luiz, keep Pogba.
not even
I
that.
saw it.
If you need to say, and I agree, like if he's fit, then you just need to turn around and be like, yeah, it's not that. Like it's just not that. You know, if you need to
Yeah.
say if he's fit, that means he's never fit. Like that is as simple as that. I think the last game of like 5 game stretch he was fit was like 3 years ago. Like let's not kid ourselves. We do not have time to wait on Pogba to getting fit. An MLS team or a Saudi team probably have, you know, we don't. And like I said, the question got asked to Motta and I was like, wasteful question because what do you think he's gonna say? Like he doesn't know Pogba. Nobody at the clubs know Pogba. Just only Chiellini, who just came back a week ago. other than that, nobody
Yeah.
at the club knows Pogba. So like, there's no absolute way he was gonna say, "I'm just happy for him that it all got resolved and he can play football again." So that's that.
Yeah.
Nothing against Pogba. Some comment. I need to address that because you're an idiot. I'm gonna call you out, saying that I disrespect Pogba. You probably never listened to one of the shows. I said like he's one of my favorite players for this club. Like probably one of the most talented, if not the most talented player I've seen play for the club. You know, and I've seen Del Piero play. I've
But
seen Buffon
also,
play, Pirlo for this club. Insane. However, that was like 2014. Like I was a kid back
yeah,
then, basically. Like, what are we talking
he
about?
did crazy stuff. He did crazy stuff like the voodoo, witch, whatever stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and that not accepting that he needs a surgery, and he tried some alternative BS. Like, come on. So he did this to himself at the end of the day.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up, people. It's international break. I'll be live with Anthony from Intro Wide on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that once a month. Julian will be back for a podcast, not sure when. So if you're watching Julian, give me a date. I'm still waiting for your response, but yeah. But we will have a
Shoot up the
podcast.
bat signal.
Yeah, I did that. He was like, "I'll come back to you. I'm gonna expose him," and he never came back. You know. Oh, he asked me something else about Inter's investigation, but nothing on the date. But it will happen in the next days. Before the international break, we will have the podcast after this month. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, yeah, let's see what will happen during the break. International football, hopefully, no injuries. That's the only thing I'm hoping for. And then we'll come back. When do we play Lazio? Sunday? No. That's
On
actually a
it,
good
wait, I'm
question.
checking. I'm
I
checking.
don't know.
It is a Saturday
Oh my
nighttime
god.
game.
Okay, that's fine. It's at night, so that's already a win. It's not 6 o'clock, I guess. But people, that's it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will speak to you guys back on Wednesday.